Calling the select board meeting to order on Tuesday, December 12th at 6:05 p.m. If you wouldn't mind, please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight. We'll start with the reading of the minutes for November 28th. Do we have those? Thank you so much, Susan. Who wants to read this? All right. Sumner Select minutes, Tuesday, November 28th, 2023 at 6 p.m. Meeting of the Sumner Select Board was called to order at 6 o'clock on November 28th, 2023, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Diane Campbell, who has been hired as the new clerk, was introduced. The minutes from November 14th, 2023 were read and approved with a motion by Chapman, seconded by Wallingford, and unanimously voted. Members present: Joel Chapman, Bill Savage, and Jesse Wallingford. Public present: Laurie Hand, Cheryl Savage, Sandra Farrar, Marty Elton, Mary Ann Hatton, Karen Dan, Jody Phillip, Gosling, Susan Stroud, Richard Estes, Kristen Chapman, Douglas Forney, Deb Farino, Amy Corson, Marcia Turcotte, Susan Ruins, Diane Campbell, Lori Arsenal, and Fred Collins. Warrant number 9, $67,091.02. Check number, and I'll just pass over that. Received taxes 2023 to 2024, $441,310.33, 28% of the taxes. Suggested from resident Hank Phillips is to print the warrant summary on the back of the agenda so it's also available during your meeting. So if you look on the back of your agenda, you will see that has been done. Okay, open session, RSU 10 report. Sumner is still without representation on the RSU 10 school board. Anyone interested in learning more about this opportunity can contact the town office or any of the select board members.
Not yet.
Roads report, Sean Corson. Culvert replacement discussion with DEP. Fire department, Doug Fournier. Fire department participated in the Norway Christmas parade. Fire truck stickers are due this month. Tires need to be replaced at approximately $15,000. Wallingford is also looking into quotes on tires. Rules suggest the fire department can get an estimate and then invoice the town so the bills can be paid directly from the town office. Richard Estes suggested that the fire department might be able to resell the tires to small farms or other truck drivers. Residents are welcome to forward possible buyers to the fire department or the town office. CEO/LPI report, Fred Collins. Chairman introduced CEO and LPI Fred Collins. Collins has worked for the town of Sumner for 5 years part-time. He also works full-time at the town of Otisfield as code enforcement officer. Collins helped reinstate with notifications and requirements of the septic system in the buildings. Residents with any questions can contact Collins at email fsc6256@yahoo.com or at 207-890-6256. Rules reminded all departments that expenses needed to be submitted and authorized with any receipt for payroll expenses. The submissions must be received before 9 a.m. on the Friday before the select board meeting. Select board members will review the warrant before the Tuesday of the select board meeting. Forms and reports. Plow bids were open, covering the winters from November 2023 to June of 2026 for municipal complex removal of snow piles and clearing of the town's dry hydrants. Bids were received from Black Mountain Brothers, New England Custom Builders, and Johnson Excavation. The low bid was from Johnson Excavation for a total of $6,300 per year for the next 3 winters. Savage made the motion to accept the low bid from Johnson Excavation. The motion was seconded by Wallingford and so voted unanimous. Harvest Hills Animal Shelter submitted an agreement for accepting animals from Sumner CEO Sean Corson. Corson said he needed to look into the agreement. Laurie Hand suggested Corson also look into Cozy Corners Kennels, Responsible Pet Care, and McKenna's. Excuse me. The contract for the whole town reevaluation has been submitted by John O'Donnell and Associates. The ones reported that $10,000 has been set aside with each yearly budget to be prepared for this expense. The last full reevaluation was completed.
It's over 10 years ago.
Yeah. Some time ago. The taxes due next fall will reflect the reevaluation. Karen Dan shared that there is a tax deduction available to residents in Maine that applies to a property owner's first 10 acres. Mary Ann Axton updated the grant from Efficiency Maine. The lighting changes will be done by Don Berry. The heat pumps are being installed and have been at this point by EcoHeat Maine. Installation upgrades will be completed by Matra Inc. and an insulation company. The fourth element of the grant is replacing the refrigerators. There is new business. There is currently not a credit card for the town office staff to use for small expenses. Campbell will look into credit card companies that provide their service to municipalities. Chapman made a motion to approve acquiring a credit card. Wallingford seconded the motion, leading to a unanimous vote. Chapman made a motion to approve doing business with Payroll Management Incorporated for an annual cost of $2,107. This service would be for all municipal part-time and full-time employees. These would include the office staff, fire department members, contractors, etc., etc. Wallingford seconded the motion with a unanimous vote. Policy discussions will take place on the second and fourth Thursday at 6 p.m. If there are problems with conflicts with the fire department training, another schedule can be worked out. The select board is also interested in rejuvenating the roads committee. They are looking for people who might be skilled in grant writing as well as people who are aware of the process of building roads. This committee would look at short and long-term plans. The transfer station joint meeting with Buckfield will take place Tuesday, December 5th at 6 p.m. at the Buckfield Town Hall. Select Board Member Savage suggested that Cheryl Savage become the town building manager, cleaner, or whatever. The job would include cleaning and general maintenance of the building. Christian Chapman suggested the policy committee consider how this might be handled. Upcoming events. Lights for Love, Saturday, December 9th, 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. Planning Board training on December 6th. Office staff training and vital records, December 5th and 6th. The Budget Committee will meet in January with more details to be announced. There will not be a Select Board meeting in December, other than this one. The Select Board members will approve the warrants so bills can be paid. Wallingford made the motion for the meeting to adjourn at 7:06 p.m. with a second by Chapman and unanimous vote.
Are there any amendments anyone's aware of that need to be made to these minutes? I make a motion that we accept these minutes as written.
Second?
All in favor? While we're signing that, I just wanted to say a big thank you to the Ladies Auxiliary. Saturday night was really cool. It's a lot of fun. I think it was a really good experience for the community and the fire department. And thank you, Doug, and all the firefighters for your participation in that. It was really, really cool event. Gail, do you recall how much you guys were able to?
Yeah, I think the final tally was about 2,680. We still have a little bit out, so we're hoping to get to like 28 or.
Awesome. Cool. That's great. Okay. As Bill pointed out, this week, rather than you suffering through my reading, you want to look at what we spent on authorized to be spent tonight by category. And you can look at the disbursements on the back of your agenda. Okay. Open session. It was brought to my attention that one of the reasons why open session was at the beginning of the meeting was so that people who might not be able to stay long would be able to address their concerns, and then if the meeting dragged on because we got into the weeds on something, they could have had their issue addressed and move along. So, out of respect to you guys, we're going to try to get back to that. The only caveat is if it's something that's going to take a while, we'll probably push the rest of the discussion to the end of the meeting at that point so that we can answer the rest of the questions in open session. So, with that being said, other than swap shop discussion, are there any questions, comments from the public? Yes.
Hi, I'm
Hi.
Katie Chase. I would like to be considered or talk about the school board vacancy for Sumner.
Awesome. Would you be willing to write the board a letter and basically just state your interest and the reasons why you're interested?
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
And it could be an email.
Yeah, or you can email us. Sumner Select 123 at gmail.com.
1, 2, 3.
All right. At this point, Doug, do you have anything to share with us tonight?
Well, for those of you who haven't heard yet, we got the Steve Ting grant for $38,000. Only 8 or 9 sets of gear. We have about 10 guys over the department, with a couple of other guys that are interested, so hopefully we can buy what we got. Truck's going in for tires Thursday. We're still working on inspections. We were trying to get rid of the water for the night, but we did not take it.
No, if, Ripley and Fletcher is willing to just email us the bill, if they'll take our word for payment, and we don't be able to work that out. We're good for it.
Just running out of time, like I said, the stickers on it.
Is that where it's done, Doug? Big budget?
Yeah, I certainly wouldn't be opposed to approving that now. If we need to add that and sign that at the end of the meeting tonight.
We just need a document.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah. Awesome.
We're making up for it.
Cool, thank you. All right, roads report, Mr. Corson.
Yep, very much talk about the road report. The first storm went good, they only had a couple of calls, minor calls. Other than that, things went pretty smooth on that storm, and yeah, there ain't much road work being done. That's about it.
How about the animal control piece?
Yeah, that's been pretty quiet, all but one pig, I guess, got out. Monday and Tuesday night. By the time I got down there, the owner was already walking it down the road. His name was Buddy. He was very, very nice acting pig.
Buddy was the pig or the guy?
Buddy was the pig, and all they did do was say, "Buddy, come on," and followed him right down the road, right back to the house. And I did do a bunch of calling. I called 3 different places, and there was not too many people, not too many places taking animals in. They just doing boarding and nail cutting and grooming. But Harvest Hill is the best price. That's a good deal that they're giving us, so I guess we better sign the contract. Yep.
For the year?
What's that?
Yes, for 1 year.
Yeah. How do we do this? So we'll put the town of Sumner.
Yes?
Can I just ask if a animal is picked up by Sean and taken to a place, does the owner of said animal have to pay the fee to retrieve that animal? And okay,
Yeah.
so that is adjusted based on whatever the new place charges.
I would not answer that question.
What do you mean?
So if in the past it was $20 because we used a different place, but now we're using a new place, is, has,
It's actually not a new place, it's the same place.
Oh, nice.
Always used.
And
Good.
This dollar amount's more than retainer.
Right.
Saying, okay, we'll take your dogs. And oftentimes it's an additional fee.
but the owner of said animal pays a fee to help cover that retainer. Is that correct?
In addition to,
No, that's in addition
the
to that.
retainer is ours for the privilege of bringing our dogs someplace.
Excellent.
If the animal is in need of medical attention, the shelters are bound by law to have it done, and the town is responsible for that.
Thank you.
We know we'll bill, but we can't control the dog from the owner.
just gonna take a second look at this agreement. Yeah, so I guess that's when.
And that been an agreement to, have you been using them right along?
Yeah, that's what we've always had.
Our previous.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this is the best
Yeah,
we're gonna do for now.
yep.
I do still like the idea of maybe, I did not get the chance to approach Pauline about her kennel and whether she would be interested in expanding that to be able to take all
That'd be
kinds
nice.
of
Yeah.
animals, because that would be right on the
I've
Warren
been,
Farm Road.
I've been,
So,
the meeting you mentioned that to it too.
yeah, but I think so. It's now, so. Okay, well, I would, motion that we accept the Harvest Hills Animal Shelter, contract for now.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay. Okay. Forums, reports, and correspondence. So as you guys know, we hired Diane recently to be our new town clerk, and the Susans have been working with her in the office, and tonight's the night that we transfer the appointments of town clerk, treasurer, tax collector, and registrar of voters from our interim Sue Runez over to Diane Campbell. So.
I will swear to you this time. Oh. I can get your own office.
But I will read this out loud. So, to Diane J. Campbell, the undersigned municipal officers of the town of Sumner do hereby vote to appoint and confirm you as Town of Sumner Registrar of Voters. Your term of office is to expire on December 16th, 2024. given under our hands Joel Chapman, Jesse Wallingford, and William Savage on this 12th day of December, 2023. To Diane Campbell, the undersigned municipal officers of the town of Sumner, do hereby vote to appoint and confirm you as the town of Sumner treasurer. Your office is to expire on December 16th, 2024. Signed on 12 December 2022. We hereby also appoint you as the town of Sumner tax collector and the town of Sumner town clerk. Okay. Last week, we opened the plowing bids to plow the town office and the dry hydrants and shovel the sidewalks here. And Johnson Excavation won that contract, so we are prepared to sign it this evening. Good idea.
And not lost.
Okay. Okay. Mary Ann, would you please stand up and talk to us about the installation piece with mantra?
Do you have a copy of the contract?
So another part of our resiliency grant is an insulation project that will be for the crawl space, and we've received a contract. They came in July and went through the process of kind of checking out things, but they couldn't get up into the loft, into the crawl space. And John from Matra came, was it just last week?
Mm-hmm.
And looked over everything, and then they did up a contract for us, and it's for the amount that the grant, and that they're asking for a down payment of, it's on the first page.
Yeah. So.
Requesting a down payment of $6,061.50. The total contract is $20,205. All of these funds and $9,220 of the heat pump project are the funds that will come from state of Maine funding. We haven't gotten the check yet, and I'm going to follow up on that. It's supposed to come end of November, beginning of December, and I think we've passed the beginning of December. So I'll follow up on that, so that we have that. They are projecting a start date of, talked with Matthew, the owner, today. And they're setting the date as the 22nd of January, but they think they might be able to get in sooner. But that's going to be dependent on what other things are going on with their projects. Their plans are to bring 2 full crews, so that they would, if they'll be working in this space, so a vehicle would have to be out for that day, but it would be just one day. They'll have 2 trucks, 2 installation trucks, 2 of everything, so that they can get 2 crews and be done in one day. So that's the proposal that we have.
Mary Ann, while you're there, we haven't had a discussion earlier today about, we have the bill from Eco Heat
Right.
for 9,000, yeah, right. But we haven't received the money.
Right.
Should we hold off until we get the money, make this payment, or should that money come out of, should we prepay it and then?
I think that's up to you.
Yeah,
like the bill
I was
came
just
when-
asking for your
when did it
suggestion.
go?
My idea was should we get the money first, and then we pay the
Well,
bill.
that was our goal. It came last week. Did it say the terms on the bill at all?
Didn't even look at it. I don't know.
I
I just
glanced
put
at
it
it, but
aside
I
because we
didn't
didn't have the
search
funds and it wasn't going on this water.
Right.
Figured if nothing else, it might go on the 26th of March, so.
My hope is that, I will follow up with Claire and with whoever the contact is at the state for us, because all the rest, the total funds, not just that 9,000.
Right.
The whole
Oh,
total
right.
will come, which will be the 20,000 for the insulation,
The
and
lights.
also the lights,
Yeah,
and then
the
the
refrigerator,
refrigerators. That'll all be part of that for me. So, we originally had said we wanted to wait until the money came to pay the bills.
Right.
But in this
Right.
situation, but in terms of down payment for the
We
insulation.
have had the down payment, not
Right.
been
And
set.
they would like to have it within 5 days of signing the contract, so that's why I would recommend we authorize that money, that $6,064.
And we can put it on the warrant at the 26th, or 85 days. Right, yeah, the warrant for the
Unless we have an
26th.
option to authorize its payment tonight and then cut a check for it in the next few days.
My personal preference would be that we, I've read the contract, I'm comfortable signing the contract, but my vote would be that we wait at least until 2 weeks from now before we authorize
The only thing that will happen is that it could get pushed back from
Oh,
the
that's what she
January
is.
22nd. That would be the only, we can sign it. We can put off signing the contract, but I don't know if we want to do that. I don't know, it's up to you. He said that if we couldn't provide the money, put the time frame together, the contract and the date and the check, then we just push ourselves back. But we've got months.
the, yeah, I don't feel like we need to rush it.
No, I agree.
Awesome, thank you very much.
I can let Matt know that we'll, what your decision is.
Sign it on the 26th. Like, have it, when you have it ready,
Yeah,
we know
yeah.
that we're actually doing it. Do it all on our own.
Okay. New business. Discussions about the swap shop. First of all, let me preface this by saying this is a meeting of the town of Sumner, and the purpose of this is for the Sumner residents to be able to weigh in on this. A little background of how this came about is we went to our waste management meeting with the town of Buckfield last Tuesday, and one of the things that was brought to our attention that our board was really prepared for was discussions about the swap shop. As just a fellow citizen in the town of Sumner, I think that while in the big picture of the governance of the town, the swap shop may be very small, but the significance of it and what it means, especially for us as overseers of the poor, and what it means for the town in terms of a place where we can all as a community collectively share with one another and help each other out. Especially, I know my family over the years has benefited from it, with 4 kids growing fast, and be able to take clothes that they outgrew and come and swap them out. So it's been a big blessing to us, and it is something that I earnestly desire that we sort out whatever differences we may have to work through to keep this going and keep this available for the town. Over the last few days, I've tried to reach out and talk with over the phone or meet with as many people who've been involved with the swap shop over the years as I could. And I know some of our other board members have had similar discussions, just to understand the history of this from when Mary Standard first conceptualized this idea, and how it grew from there, and how Wilda and Dwayne and the Glances became involved, and how the rules were formulated and the various situations and scenarios that caused the rules to be put in place. And that was it was a good learning experience for me. So anyway, that being said, we didn't really know the full story or the big picture of what had been going in the swap shop. Wednesday crew, Saturday crew, rules, personalities, etc. But one of the things that was brought up at the meeting was that leadership was needed, direction was needed. At the time that discussion was, when we began that discussion, I was unaware of the history and who had been responsible for heading up the swap shop and how that had been passed down over the years. Bill made the recommendation that, we had a bit of a discussion. Correct me if I'm not quoting this correctly, but that basically we agreed that we would nominate Don Berry as our interim coordinator or manager until February 27th. Yep. So we could have the opportunity to collect information. The town of Buckfield talk with their people. We talk with our people. Discuss what rules may or may not need to be addressed or changed, how we should move forward in managing this. And So that was our interim solution. So today, we would like to gather information and opinions from the people of the town of Sumner. What has worked? What hasn't worked? What do you like about the swap shop? As we look forward to the 27th, what would you like to see implemented? Questions, comments, concerns, etc. Before we get into that, there's a couple of things that I think I would like for us as a board to establish as far as our expectations in the interim. The first one would be that it would be our expectation that the rules as they exist will be followed until what point we have discussion on the 27th and potentially adjust them for whatever various reasons may arise. What are you guys' feelings on that?
Yeah, like I questioned today how things have worked in the past, whether this ever came under. Why would the select board being involved in the running of the swap shop, where it was a volunteer organization? And it was brought to my attention that the town of Sumner and the town of Buckfield have an agreement. We pay our dues, and that this has to be a volunteer situation that involves these two towns. Now, if other towns want to buy in to the old solid waste management system that we're involved with now, then they've had the opportunity in the past, and I'm sure that it could be addressed in the future. But it's got out of hand, and I guess I feel that we need to take local control so that we can give better oversight to the situation until the 27th, when we will address this again and hopefully be able to fill positions that may be vacated and try to stop the drama with the swap shops. Let's try to get it so it's running right, so that the Saturday crew and the Wednesday crew are communicating, and that will be Don's responsibility as the coordinator. And yeah, let's get rid of the infighting, let's get rid of all of that, and let's start fresh and move forward. And I guess that's my piece. I've said enough, way too much.
Yes, ma'am.
So the swap shop was born out of the town of Sumner, is that correct?
That is correct.
And none of the people in Buckfield volunteer?
No,
Have they
there were
been
people
asked?
from Buckfield involved almost immediately. Mary Standard was her idea, and she's from Sumner.
Uh-huh.
But Dwayne and Wilda, and very shortly thereafter, the Glasses were involved right from the get-go.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the Glasses are from Sumner.
Dwayne has been involved since the beginning.
Yeah, and he's from Buckfield.
Right.
Yeah.
So you said something about getting things under control. What specifically are you talking about? There's just,
Oh, there's a litany. I've talked to a bunch of different people that work on the swap shop as volunteers, and they've never got along. The Saturday crew and the Wednesday crew are sort of at odds. It's always been a bit of contention there that you're gonna find in any volunteer organization, I guess, especially when the two don't intermingle. It's not part of the Wednesday crew that's working with the Saturday crew, or the Saturday crew that's, yeah.
maybe we need a Christmas party for the swap shop?
See Don Berry.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
So can we look back, to me, time flies much faster than I can comprehend. We started this, it's been more than 10 years? Swap shop was 15?
2008.
Can I speak?
So that's,
Yes, Linda.
Okay. Let me just correct that back.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Since the inception of the swap shop, it's been coordinated and people have scheduled Saturday and Wednesday together. It's never been separate. That issue has started since it was reopened after the pandemic. It was not like that before. There was
Yeah.
one coordinator for both Wednesdays and Saturdays because it was me. For like 6 years before that. Dwayne worked closely with me and Bill. Three of us worked together. We were basically like the unofficial coordinators of the swap shop. So that's not true. That's
Well,
a
it
fact.
is now,
It is now.
yes.
Since it's open since.
I didn't say since inception, I'm talking,
Okay.
I think my question was
Okay.
about the current ongoing.
Apologize for interrupting you, Mary Ann.
so I guess I have just a couple of questions in terms of memory. I did think it was always a unified group. And there was a long list of volunteers who worked, and it was an independent process. And the select boards were not involved, other than it happened. It was that this was an enterprise on the site of the transfer station that was run by both towns. And the effort was for the community of the volunteers to really make it happen. And so they worked on getting additions and heating and all the other stuff with some support from, it was about 2 or something, so it was really an independent effort. And so I guess my question is, does the select boards who now are responsible for the transfer station understand this to be an independent process? They view it as volunteers running this organization of swap shop, of the two towns. Is that an understanding that you now have?
So, historically, that has always been the case, and it would have been great if it would have continued that way. It's, I don't know, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't quote John Adams on this one, because I think most people in this community really do want to work together and get along, but, when, things start falling apart, then you find yourself in need of more rules. So, Cam, did you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I'm Cameron.
He's the town manager.
To spin off what Mary Ann was saying. So the swap shop's never been an issue up until, I'd say, the last few months. When something goes wrong at the swap shop, because it is on town property, between Sumner and Buckfield, I get the phone call. And I've been receiving a lot of phone calls on both sides, a lot of issues that I was always under the impression it was self-managed, and the town didn't need to get involved, or the towns didn't need to get involved. But it was brought to the solid waste committee because we have had issues. I've got 50 plus employees. I've got my own set of personalities that I have to deal with on a weekly basis and a daily basis, and adding this to everything that's been going on, I asked them to come up with a solution. So if anybody's upset, you can partially blame me, because I asked them to look into this at that meeting. I would love to get it back to a point where it manages itself and we don't have to get involved other than reimbursement of donation funds to pay for things that the swap shop needs. But we gotta start somewhere, and right now it wasn't working the way that I think it was originally established. And I think what Joel's just trying to say is, you know, we were kind of forced to come up with a temporary solution until we can hear from everybody on what they think it should look like. I did bring copies of the current guidance that is supposed to be used. I think you might have wrote it.
I was in on it.
As well as a copy of a letter that I drafted up to all the volunteers after that meeting, just kind of giving everybody a rundown of what happened in case there were any questions. So just wanted to put that out there so everybody knows how we got here and where we're trying to get. Because I don't want to see the swap shop go anywhere. I think what everybody that's involved in it does is great for the communities. But we definitely need somebody that when there is an issue and somebody has a question about why we can't take this or why are we taking this and not this, that I can give a phone number or some sort of contact information to. So I'm not the guy that is, because I don't know what to tell them. I mean, I've literally had no guidance about the swap shop since I started. Outside of taking donations in and depositing them and expending them as expenses come out.
One of the things that we would like to suggest for our meeting on the 27th to essentially write into the bylaws, if you will, of the agreement is that quarterly all the volunteers for the swap shop all get together and discuss what is working, what isn't, and come up with a plan for scheduling, items that you take, don't take, what reasons why, ideas for when the next transfer station meeting happens next year, what rules we may want to change and for what reasons, those sort of things.
So I guess I have one other question.
Yes.
You say Don Barry, you're asking that Don Barry be the coordinator for
In
the
20, yeah, in 20.
that's of the whole swap.
Yes.
That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct, and the town of Buckfield voted on that as well.
Mark?
Hi there. There's some history about the swap shop in the town reports, and I think that you can access that also. Susan Runas could probably fill you in as to details. As we convey information verbally, what happens is that it's like a fairy tale. It changes from one time to another. And one suggestion I have for this is to speak to people who work on it and establish the rules. Mrs. Standard, Bill and Linda worked on it. They what? Wayne, yes, of course. But it was established a while ago, and the premise of the whole swap shop, was that we would circulate materials that would normally have been thrown out. The point of it was to serve the towns of Buckfield and Sumner, so that people like you, who I heard appreciate what is available there, would have that as an opportunity. And it went through a number of iterations, and the reason it went through a number of iterations is because what happened was that people saw the value of that swap shop, and originally everything was to be free. Obviously, what was to be thrown out and couldn't be used, like television sets, were to be sent to the recycling. And then, when the value of the shop was evident, some people thought, I will pick up all these pieces and maybe I'll sell these at home and advertise them through Uncle Henry's or whatever else. And originally it was designed for everything to be free and everything to be managed by volunteers. So there was no intent to have selectmen actually field any calls of dissatisfaction. Dissatisfaction comes when there is a struggle for power, for decision making, when something is valuable. And perhaps it would be fruitful to see how decisions came about. Mary Standard was involved in writing some rules originally. And as I said, in the class, they were the first ones to really encounter problems. And they resolved those problems.
I think the first set of rules were wrote was 2014.
Yes.
And then we've been revising them. And every time we wrote a rule, it's because of something that happened in the shop that we had to address.
Exactly. So rules are created after there's some kind of a transgression or some kind of a dispute. People don't create rules anticipating problems.
Thank you, Mark. I did read your institutional memory of the shop. It's really good. If anyone wants a quick history of it, it's a big one-pager, but it's a good read. Yes, ma'am.
Joel, I thought that the purpose of the swap shop was to keep solid waste out of the dump.
I'm
And
glad
to
you brought that up.
To share with the people who could take some of that stuff and use it who have nothing. You know, for people to say, you can't take that and go put it in your, antique store table, it doesn't matter where it's going, as long as it's all going. Let them have it, get it out of there, it didn't go in the dump. That was my original belief of what that was supposed to do, to keep stuff out of the landfill. And
So-
there it is on a table, if you want it, take it away.
So I, 2 points to that. One, for those of you that may not know, one of the fringe benefits of the swap shop is the fact that a lot of the tonnage that we would have been charged for, had it gone straight into the dumpster, gets recirculated through the swap shop, so the town ends up saving money because these things are being repurposed and reused. Really, that's a fringe benefit. The primary purpose, as I understand it in interviewing the people that were involved in this since essentially the beginning, was really an earnest desire to help those in their community in need out of something that otherwise would just be lost or thrown away. One of the reasons for one of the rules and why they were incurred was because human nature being what it is, there are people out there that are greedy, and what ended up happening is when a shipment of stuff from the swap shop would come in, there would be like a feeding frenzy of the sharks ripping through everything to try and get the good stuff. And in efforts to make things more fair, the rule was put into place that the volunteers could look through and pick one item that they could set aside and take home at the end of the day. And if they, throughout the day, they saw something that they liked better, they could swap that out. But the purpose of that was to essentially keep a would-be hoarder from volunteering and taking all the best of everything that was designed to be a blessing to the entire town and keep it for themselves. So that's why, even though you're absolutely correct that we are keeping it out of the landfill, and so what? That was one of the reasons for rules like that. Did I was just asking if I had conveyed that
Yes, you
situation
conveyed it right.
correctly.
I can say that I can add to it. Another reason we put that in there is because when I first came back to the swap shop, about 2012, we had people that were working there that were volunteers that were filling their cars while they were on duty. Filling their cars. And we had other times where they were selling things, actually at the swap shop, getting and pocketing the money. We've had all kinds of things happen. Those were, the rules went into existence because of things like that. I don't think that kind of stuff happens now. But, you know, that's why the rules went into place. Some of them seem excessive, but that's why.
Yes.
Is one of the goals of this discussion tonight to potentially suggest there be a meeting of the people you're indicating as we're involved in the visual planning? So that there can be maybe a meeting, a couple of meetings between now and February 27th, in which they could maybe come up with a recommendation that would come back for this body to change.
I'd like nothing better than to be able to turn it back to them and let them make their own decisions. I was reluctant to get involved with this at all because it's a volunteer situation and they should be able to police themselves. And if it hadn't been brought to our attention that there were so many issues, then we wouldn't be sitting here talking about this now. So, yeah, my hopes is February 27th, maybe everybody can get together that works at the swap shop, come up with their own policing policies along with the ones that have already been established, and we can turn it back to them without incident.
Well, the reason I'm saying is that maybe there are people who haven't been involved in the swap shop up to this point, who might like to sit in and have be part of the discussion.
More
and have
merrier.
new eyes sit on it and work with Don and whoever else wants to be part of the discussion. So
We should.
you might come up with more volunteers.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. We should definitely post that to our town websites when these meetings are going to be. Don, you had something to add?
Yeah, I think what is needed, the basic thing that is needed is communications between the two different days. And as you mentioned earlier, 4 meetings a year of all the volunteers, along with the management, whether it be you or whoever. But I think just communications. I think that's what's missing. The chain of command. At this point in time, we didn't really know that Dwayne had retired. We heard that, but we didn't know it. We didn't know if anybody else had been assigned a position. So where the rules, where the changes are coming from, we didn't know that. And I believe that should be the input of everybody, every volunteer there. Looking at the guidelines, I think there is some things that have to be looked at and changed. And I think I had asked for a couple of dates from our manager, he actually oversees the dump. But a couple of dates where we can, before the 27th, meet twice look at the guidelines, talk, and get the communications going again. I think that's what's missing. And I think before that, people used to switch around from day to day. You know, some people were on one week on Wednesday, one on Saturday, and that was, the communication was there. You know, people talking to people. I think it's that simple, that's all we have to put back.
Don, can you give us an updated list of the people that are volunteers now? How many, I have no idea how many we have, or?
I had a list that was given to me, but I know that it's not complete.
Yeah, you weren't on it.
I wasn't on it. But there's others that weren't on it too, I know of joined. That's the first thing we have to do, is get a full list and do the invites. Make sure everybody has a copy of the current guidelines to look over, and then probably discuss that and move from there. But I really think it's a communication system issue there. One side's not talking to the other. People, when a rule comes in, you go, it's on the table, it's a little written sheet, doesn't say who it's from. You don't know whether it's a rule or not, so good communications is a good answer to what's going on. But, you know, we don't pay these people, so their payment should be at least their opinion. They get to voice their opinion.
Yeah, certainly. Don, while we're talking, one of the things that would be really nice would be if, say, once a month, just like we do the RSU 10 report and the CEO report and fire department, if we could get a report from you, just how things are going, what's been going on at the swap shop, that would be great. Cool. Yes.
When Mary Sanders was involved, we would get, the select board would get a report of the tonnage that was out of the waste stream on an annual basis, you know, the reflection and then some sense of how that could be compared and monitored. It was always a report, and I think it even got in the town report.
Cool. Cam?
So that was another thing that I spoke with Dawn about is when I came in, the transfer station was 4 years behind on solid waste reporting. So I had to go back and do 4 years worth of solid waste reporting. And one of the things that obviously with COVID and everything else, one of the things that I didn't have and had to estimate was the tonnage that came out of the swap shop. So I think you guys know, I think Dawn understands that if the better we can keep track of that, the best, because
I recorded the tonnage and we turned it in.
oh, I'm sure you did.
Oh,
I'm not
yes, I
saying you
had
didn't. I'm
18
saying
and 19, and then it closed. So I didn't go back further than that, but I counted it, every bit of it.
And
So the paperwork is there.
And in your defense, I was the 6th account manager in 3 years.
Yes,
So,
I know, we talked to many of them.
so I've got the most time in office is out of those 6, and I'm just saying that moving forward, that's very important because it's a key piece to that solid waste reporting, as well as other things that concern the facility, like parking in front of the brush pile. We have to be really careful of that because it really affects the flow of the transfer station. So the communication between the volunteers as well as the town, which is on me as well because I've been trying to tread water for a year and a half, but the more we can communicate those little issues, we can keep a lot of the stuff at bay.
I'd like to actually put that tonnage out and put what the dollar value is on the town pages.
Yeah, that's easy enough for me to
realize
calculate.
how much it actually saves. And that's only the little part of it, what it provides to people in this area.
I think that's in the annual reports. I think when we were doing it, we put that in the annual reports, in our report. And then it closed down for the pandemic. And then it did not start again after you opened, so.
And those were the years that the reports, when I said the reports.
At this time, are there any other residents of the town of Sumner that would like to add any suggestions or things for consideration that we may want to discuss when we have our meeting on the 27th? This is...
I don't go to the swap shop. I have absolutely no beef against Wilbur or Dawn.
but I'm getting all those phone calls too. So I guess my question is, how did the whole thing go about that Don got voted in as interim without the rest of the swap shop people not knowing anything about this? I missed that part. Enlighten me. I don't know anybody that works there, I don't know anybody that does anything, but how did it happen? Because my big fear is you're saying February, which doesn't seem like long, and dump vault's only open so many days, but I don't want everyone to walk out of here and then the Saturday people, whoever they are, say, I'm not going back, we're done with this, you've done pissed us off. So I guess, how did this happen without some vote just between them or something? I don't know. How did this happen? Without half of the dump people not knowing about it.
I think that's why we're here tonight.
Okay, so I haven't heard how it happened. Did I miss it?
Well, it felt like there was, everybody, in order to have a vote, something like that, both towns had to meet. So it was an opportunity that if it had just been left open, we wouldn't be here talking about it tonight. And we realized the importance of it, and that's why we wanted representation from the Saturday people here tonight. And so.
Yeah, but it sounds like it's already a done deal. You're
No,
already
it's
sitting here
an
telling me you want
interim,
one man.
so it's just gonna be 4 meetings, or I don't know, 3 more.
But is it gonna piss off the other people?
I hope not, because everybody hopefully will be
Or
on
is
the
it any way
same.
you can have both of them interims?
Well, they're gonna have their own meetings, like Dawn just said, they're gonna have a couple more meetings, and we hope that everybody can come, and if they have an issue, they can talk about it then, and maybe resolve some things that have been bothering them.
There is absolutely no changes.
We need to come back to order here. I don't think we answered your question, though. When we were at the meeting, and I have to admit, I didn't know there was any drama associated with the swap shop. I had no clue, none whatsoever. And at the meeting that we had with Buttfield, then there were people there that brought up concerns and saying at that point there was no leadership there. Don was there and he spoke of this, and I didn't know the other characters involved. And so you can lay it on me. I made the motion that for Don Berry to be the interim person, to coordinator until February, so that we could sort this all out and figure out how we're gonna move forward. But I didn't, believe me, I didn't know anybody else that was involved in this, in the swap shop personally or by name. And he happened to be present at that meeting and figured that if he's there, he's gonna get charged with it. So it was no reflection on any other personality, because I'm not familiar, I have no axe to grind with any. It's just the opportunity was there, and I took advantage of it. So,
I think you should have waited a little bit.
Yeah, when that meeting began, we were unaware that there was a resignation letter from Dwayne until towards the end of the meeting, and I really didn't get a chance to read it until after the meeting was over. If you watch the video of the meeting, I asked whether Wilda and the other folks were aware of this meeting, and someone told us that they were, everyone should be aware of it. So that was the information that we rolled with. So
The meeting was put out to the public. It was put on the October 17th thing, for the meeting, and they selected a month that this meeting was going to take place. It was also put out but it was one day ahead, on the 4th, I believe, that this was going to be discussed.
There are
And
two
it was
people
out
here
there.
that are Saturday people right now. Can they, he's from Buckfield, but he works Saturdays.
I would.
Wilda.
Pardon? I do both.
Okay. So, and Wilda is here. They should be given a chance to speak.
Absolutely.
The floor is open.
Yes.
Well, I'm from Buckfield.
Sir, could you just stand up so I can?
Yeah, I'm from Buckfield.
Yes, sir.
No, we weren't aware of the meeting that was coming up. We had no inclination whatsoever. I will agree with Dawn, the communication has to be there. For whatever reason, everybody is on a different page. And we have one goal to serve, and that's to serve the community, to give back to them. So why the problems are going on, I don't know. I've been there for the last 3 or 4 months, Saturday, from opening to close. I was a part of the fundraiser that we did. I was a part contributing to the windows that was being put in. You know, decorating the swap shop, seeing everything that's coming in there. And Saturday is just unbelievable sometimes, the amount of product that comes in there. So if we're gonna have communication, the meeting that you guys had before, we should have known about it, if that's what we're gonna do. Gotta have communication. There's no reason why the whole place cannot be on one page and run sufficiently. Now, I will kind of address this a little bit. So, I've heard tonight that some people are loading up their cars and they're doing this and they're doing. But even recently, I've heard that that's happening. Not as far as the Saturday crew goes. No. But I do know that we have had customers that have come in, and that's exactly what they're doing, is they're taking it and then they're selling it on eBay or doing whatever, which I guess is their choice, I guess. You know, but as far as people on the Saturday crew taking stuff, and that's not happening. So, you know, we take a lot of pride in what we're doing there, and, you know, communication. So, that's it, I guess, for the moment.
Wilda, did you have anything that you would like to add?
Do I have anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, yes. When I went to work there many years ago, and then when Wayne took it over, and I have been working for him, right? And he has been trying to keep the rules, like no dirty women's underwear in the dance. What did we do Saturday? We go in and find a pair of dirty women's underwear and a dirty bag in with the socks. And this has been going on all the time. The Wednesday crew, Don made it very clear when he came there that he was going to be Dwayne's boss. And that is why Dwayne's blood pressure went so high he had to quit. Because Don got right in his face and screamed at him. And he would not. They will not. We tried and tried and tried to have round table meetings. What did Don say? It ain't going to happen.
We're not going to, point of order, we're not going to discuss personnel.
Yeah. And the Saturday crew has done everything we could. We raised the money. I don't know if we have enough completely to pay the windows or not, but we sure as heck tried. We asked the other crew to please help us out on it. Nothing. And the Saturday crew has been doing everything out there. My daughter and I have to go in on Thursday and clean the place up and vacuum, because they don't even know how to run a vacuum cleaner, I guess. There's got to be some changes made, that's all.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason
And
why
when
we're
you
here.
say they've got to obey the rules and do what Don sits there and says, yeah, but they don't do it. They just do not do it.
Thank you, Wilda.
I guess to my point, to your point about the, I mean, we've kind of established how we ended up here from our solid waste committee meeting. We're not trying to disenfranchise anybody or their opinion or their vote. We don't want to, you can watch the video. It actually says, we want to make sure that everybody feels that they're included. My expectations, Dawn, is that you're going to be organizing a team of both Wednesday and Saturday people and following these rules until
All volunteers.
That's right. That's the only, human nature is human nature. People get, and it's two separate things going on right now. It needs to be one. So whether it be just until February and then you decide you don't want to do it, or somebody else, or however that works, I'm not sure how it's gonna play out or whatever. That you'd bring Saturday and Wednesday as a team effort, communicating with both groups of people, and that you follow these rules until we have a chance to address them if they need to be addressed. That's my expectations.
What about the Saturday crew? We still gonna have control of Saturday?
It's gonna be a team effort. It's not gonna be a Saturday,
It's never
Wednesday.
been a team effort since he came through.
We're starting fresh.
It is. Correct.
That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I have to look at it. So, whatever.
Saturday he'll come in and tell us all the wrong stuff.
That's my expectations.
Mine as well. Yes.
How many people are we talking when you say volunteers? Is it like 20, 10, 30?
I would estimate.
How many is on your list for Saturday? I thought you told me seven for Saturday that I guess switched.
Does it matter, 7 people?
I have 6.
Oh, just 7?
So 15 people, roughly.
But there's part-timers too. So I'd say it's about 20 altogether. I'm not sure of that. I think the list I received the other day probably had 15 on it.
Maybe, Don, what you could do is put a sheet on there at the swap shop somewhere where you guys communicate or don't communicate currently, and get a list of current people that are currently considering themselves volunteers, so everybody's in the loop as to who.
And contact them.
And how to contact them.
Yes.
Buckfield has an application on their site, but you have to print it out. And I'd like to ask them to actually make that so that it records online, so we can actually see it. That would give them the list right away. They have a week to go in and look at it and use the schedule. But that shouldn't be a big problem.
This in relation to the town of Sumner, Lee?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Well, Lee Holman, and I am from Hartford. I started working at the swap shop when Mary Standard gave me the keys and asked me to be part of the committee. Probably 2012, but frankly, I don't remember exactly. And as far as I know, there's never actually been a committee because we really haven't had much in the way of meetings, and it's not what I learned to understand as a committee. I just want to point out to everybody that on Wednesday, 3 of the 6 volunteers are from Hartford, and on Saturday, last I knew, there was at least 2 volunteers who are Hartford residents who are regular dedicated volunteers. And I just wanted to point that out.
Mrs. Farah.
I just want the record to stand, Wilder is not one of the people that called me.
Benny, did you have any comments?
Anything to say about all this
Good to see you. Okay, moving along. All right, Buckfield Sumner Solid Waste Committee meeting report. So, as we've discussed already, Town of Sumner and Town of Buckfield Select Boards got together, talked about the transfer station and the monies that things have been costing, the share that each town has, and we have continued to pay in a percentage of Buckfield having 65% share.
Can you take this meeting outside if we have a meeting going on?
Excuse me.
And Sumner sharing 35%, and that's that figure. That percentage is based on our town populations. So we looked everything over. Not really anything has changed with our agreement. We liked it. The town of Buckfield has signed this, and I would make a motion that the town of Sumner accept and renew our agreement with the town of Buckfield for the disposal of solid waste and recycling.
Second.
All in favor? Well, they've already got their signatures on that.
My notary. I just watched you sign it.
Okay.
All right.
Can we date this?
Yeah, date it today.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make copies. I keep the originals at the town office, and then both towns will have copies.
Thank you.
All right. 7:32.
While he's signing this, so you guys know, the February 27th meeting that we'll have between us and the town of Buckfield will occur here as part of the beginning of our select board meeting on February 26th, since we went over there for theirs last Tuesday.
So it's supposed to be February 27th, 2023.
Yes, yes it is. Yes.
What were you talking about?
You don't say 23.
You know, it's not too bad.
Not that he's going to make a mistake and come last year.
All right. Eco heat. We did. One of the things that reminded me of, though, which I wanted to ask you guys about earlier, is the alarm that Mrs. Freno probably knows has been triggered quite a bit in this past week or two.
It is the heat pump triggering the motion sensor in the office. For now, we're turning off the heat pump at night. Someone from the alarm company is coming, although I think we're going to try just moving the fins over a little bit and see if that says. When it opens? Pardon me? When it opens up? Yes, the fin moves it, setting off the alarm, because there's just enough airflow. These would be set up the sensor.
He said that might happen.
Yeah.
And I guess it is.
Yeah, if he was afraid of that happening, I wonder why
Well,
he did.
He did move the unit. He said, I'm gonna move this unit as far as I can.
But that brings up our contact to the security company.
Yes.
In the past, it's been 2 select board members. If it ever goes off and we have a door issue once and it would trigger it. And, I don't know if we feel like it's ever gone off for a security reason, but it still has to be followed up on. And it's still going forward.
So they did try to call me, but I get so many calls from telemarketers every day. I didn't recognize the number, so I didn't know it was them until I checked my messages. But I'll save them so that I'll know it's them next time.
No, always know when it's me texting you.
Yes.
So currently, you and Bill are both listed as emergency contacts.
Technically, all three of them are listed.
Thought I slipped out of that one, but I didn't see my name on, yeah, I saw my name on the list today.
It does have to be one of you who is accessible and has a key.
Yeah.
So we
I
can
don't
make
have
you
a
a
key.
key. Well, you know.
I'm waiting on the watch. The watch should be in anytime, yeah. Pretty lots, yeah, it's good.
I'm sure Diane would definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Let's forgive you.
Yeah, there we go. I make that motion. Security
So
expert.
we're working on our King's spin and see if that works.
All right. Moving along.
All right, good.
Thank you for coming out tonight.
Have a good night, folks.
Thank you for having us. This one got by advertising for
I had no idea.
person.
Well, last meeting, yeah, I mentioned that my wife would be interested in keeping the place clean, and so then it got brought up that. She doesn't care, she's not, she's withdrawn from the process, so.
So anyway, it's on the board. I think it's on the website. But it would be really nice to.
Absolutely. So, I guess we dropped the ball on reaching out to MMA.
Oh, sorry.
Somebody's leaning on the switch.
I was gonna say, there goes our love for the new system.
So raise just a thought around, for this thing that we're bringing up.
Yes.
We're still in the process of working with DWI regarding high-speed internet, but I wanted, and they're doing full permits and stuff like that, so it's gonna be 24 sometimes when we get it. But I wanted to ask that this information about the affordable connectivity program could be posted on the website and used a bit, because it's information about a discount for people who want to have internet but cannot afford it. So if I share this with Diane, that it gets shared on the website and however else.
Like the solar power thing.
Okay.
I think that's good information for the community to know. Diane, is that an easy?
That's a big question, but we're on it.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Planning board, school board vacancies, and other pending appointments. We have a school board volunteer as of tonight. planning board applicants.
How many vacancies?
So I think we're up to 2 planning board vacancies now.
If we fill all the alternates, we could take probably 4.
Mr. Estes?
But did he just volunteer for the planning board?
I don't need your 2 cents, Joel.
Yes, sir.
You can post that as well.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good to post it. Okay, as far as upcoming events go, we mentioned last meeting that there will be no select board meeting on December 26th, the day after Christmas. We will come in and review the warrant that needs to be paid and sign that. Otherwise, our next select board meeting will be in January. Update on the town office holiday hours. The town office will be closed December 25th and 26th, and then closed January 2nd and 3rd. Reiterate one more time, the Sumner Buckfield Solid Waste meeting will be February 27th at 6 p.m. right here at the Sumner Town Office. Do we have any other business? I would entertain a motion. Oh, what, Doug?
I don't know if we need to announce this in front of everybody. I do have the quote for the inspections.
Oh, great, yes, what is that quote?
31601.
316.
$316, right? And that's how many, 3 trucks?
That's for 2 trucks.
That'd be the inspections. Yeah.
Okay. Ripley and Fletcher?
He's gonna come here and say he works for the
The inspector's gonna come here?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So
Okay,
he'll have an invoice.
no problem, take care of it then.
That is
Okay, thanks for getting that. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you, Doug.
Yep, I'll sign off on that.
He does house calls, so yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight.
I make a motion to adjourn at 7:43.
I second.
Merry Christmas, happy holidays, everybody.